Jeffrey, nice to see you. Louis, nice to see you too. Hope you guys are having a good day so far, enjoying your bank holiday. So Action Jackson, I'm going to put you on mute. I'm going to ask you to go on mute whilst we start. So Laulu, are you ready? Okay. Okay, so let us start. Hi everybody, how you doing? Thank you for joining us today on the first webinar series of Building Future Entrepreneurs. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we'll be covering. First of all, if you guys can give me a thumbs up if you can hear my voice and if you can see my face. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear my voice? Okay, awesome, awesome. That's good. Okay, so just going straight ahead. Today, the agenda for today's webinar, we're just going to be looking at the background of the webinar itself, why we are doing this and what you should expect throughout the series. We will be introducing the speakers to today's speaker to you as well. And we'll go straight into the main presentation. Then we'll do a question and answer session and then any concluding points. Okay, so just to repeat it, we're just going to do a quick background. I itemize some of the things that you're going to expect. We would introduce the speaker to you so you understand, so you know the background of the speaker and where they will be coming from. And also then the speaker will take over and then we'll do a Q&A session and then conclusion. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, there is you see a Q&A icon there. So if you can use that to ask your questions, and if the speaker needs you to give some clarification as to what your questions are, then we would unmute you and then you'll be able to clarify your questions. Is that okay? So just bear that in mind. But what I would say is that as the speaker starts, please start sending in your Q&A questions and your questions, I beg your pardon. And at the end of the presentation, we will take those questions and then conclude for the day. Okay. So just to give you a bit of background as to why we are why we've started this webinar series. So I've actually had this idea now for quite a while. A bit ashamed to admit that I've had it since 2008. When I was in college as a student, and the reason why I had this idea was because as I was studying, I discovered that university produces thousands of students, but we're not going to have the demand for jobs is going to far exceed the supply. So the idea was that, hey, we need to actually start inspiring the entrepreneurs of tomorrow to start creating the jobs for tomorrow, and that is why we are reaching out to you with this topic. So the focus is to challenge and inspire and educate aspiring and budding entrepreneurs, so people who have already started up their businesses, but their businesses are still in infancy, and and at the end of this, we're going to actually be working with you to help you to raise seed capital for your business. So we just don't want you to learn alone. We actually want you to take action as well. So what should you expect? So the topic for today is identifying and building the right business idea. and I'll be introducing the speaker to you in a minute. Next week, we'll be covering identifying and building the right team. The following week, it will be identifying and reaching the right audience. Then we'll also cover on the 15th of June, knowing your numbers and budget control, and also talking about the different ways to raise seed capital for your business. Then we will look at in the fifth week, we'll be looking at the compliance and administrative side of business. What are the documents? What is the legal structure that you need to put in place? And on the 29th, which is going to be the last week, that is where we're all going to come together. We have seasoned entrepreneurs who are here. Action Jackson, who is already here with us on today, is actually going to be one of the panelists on that day, and you'll be able to ask. So most of the things that we've done, some of the things that we've learned throughout the weeks that we are doing the webinar series, you'll be able to even ask more questions centered around how do we build a sustainable business in uncertain times. Okay, how do we build a sustainable business in uncertain times? So these are the topics that you should expect throughout the webinar series. Are you guys hearing me okay? Is anybody having any issues hearing me, or is the sound quality poor? Okay. All right. So introduce the speaker to you guys. So Olaolu is a avid Nigerian who has spent over 8 years exploring various business ideas. And while he is keyed into, and he has also keyed into numerous opportunities and partnerships as well. This has helped him to develop his creative abilities and consumer behavioral analytics. He's worked with his work experience has evolved through graphic and web design, print publication, brand storytelling to digital media consultancy. He's currently the creative partner at Nude XP Limited, a brand storytelling company in Nigeria. He has taught over 1,000 students, professionals on brand storytelling, idea development, and digital media. Olaolu has also is also a lead volunteer at the Orderly Society, founded by Professor Yemi Osinbajo. That's the if you don't know, that's the Vice President of Nigeria, the current incumbent Vice President of Nigeria. He's also an alumnus of Tony Elumelu Entrepreneurship Program, and I believe that that's the that is the chairman of, that's the current incumbent chairman of UBA. Is that correct, Olaolu?
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, awesome. So Olaolu is the Olaolu Ogudeji is the chief storyteller at Nude XP Limited. So I'm going to hand over to him now to take over the presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Olaolu Ogundeji. Thank you, Tolu, for this opportunity to discuss with everyone. And let me just start by saying, can you all see my screen, Tolu?
Not yet.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think it's loading up now. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, so yeah, today's topic is identifying and building the right idea. A very interesting topic, I might say. This is a quiz, it's a maze, and I wanted you all, if it's possible, as you can see, the exit point is just to the left side of it, the entry point is on top. How many minutes would it take you to solve this maze, to get from the entry point to the exit point? There's so many twists and turns. It might take some 2 minutes, it might take some 3 minutes, it might take some 15 minutes, it might take some 2 days. And I feel this is how, this is more or less the journey of an idea. which starts from your head and eventually you birthing it out or creating something or making it visible to others. It's a very daunting task. I would say it's very slow and intentional. Slow not meaning it takes years, or no, slow meaning you need to really process a lot of things. You need to combine a lot of knowledge together. You need to sit down, discuss it. Ideas do not just, there is never an eureka idea that just comes and the next day you put it into practice or you execute it. No, and it's also intentional, meaning you have to put your mind to it. So I asked the question, what exactly is an idea? I would say yes, it's a thought that leads to an action. There's a difference between an idea and the right idea. The right idea is an opportunity. A thought, an idea is just a thought that leads to an action with no end. You might think of an idea, or I have this idea about doing A, B, C, D, or cooking something. Yes, but the right idea is an opportunity that presents itself to you, an opportunity that helps you, seize the moment, especially in the business circle. One thing we need to understand, and it's really, really important, is that not every idea is a viable business. You might have ideas, there's several ideas I'm sure we've all thought about, but if we really put it to test, we'll realize that no, it's not profitable, it's not viable at all. And there's several brands, several experiences which we could do research on. Imagine Pepsi coming up with a new brand or product that is only meant to be served in the morning. So trying to replace coffee, how we take coffee in the morning. Of course, it was a flop. Or an idea of you having a special bottled water for your pets, which sort of contains some carbonated flavored drink or something. But so the idea might sound really good in your head, but no, Bic, which we all know for their ability to create really good and durable pen or biro, as we call it in Nigeria, wanted to venture into the perfume industry. It might be a good idea, but no. Viability in terms of the brand perception, no. It was a total flop. There's several top brands that we can make reference to, the Google glasses that, we thought, or even the Google Plus, trying to rival Facebook. Unfortunately, it wasn't viable. So it's really, really, really important that as entrepreneurs, we are true to ourselves and we're true to the idea. It's giving birth to a child is like an idea, birthing an idea. So you might be a bit biased about it, but at the end, you really need to know when to put your foot down and when it's you can tell that, oh, this is not a viable business. I've had conversations with people and I can see how they are reluctant, to let go of that idea because they've conceived it for several decades and they're in their 60s and, they're out there and they're like, oh no, I need to birth this idea. And unfortunately, is it viable? No. Napster, for example, that with streaming music live, it seemed to be a very good idea. Different people downloading music and all whatnot. But unfortunately, it had to die natural death because in that business world, there are certain legal steps you need to take, and they crushed them because they didn't have the license to distribute music online. Those were other people's works. So I ask you guys, why are you all here? Of course, you're here to learn. I'm here to learn as well. Definitely to learn. But what exactly are we trying to learn? What exactly do we want to learn? It's how to win. your businesses, how your ideas can, win, can be successful, can be profitable. And it is really important. What else are we in business for? The main objective of a business is to be profitable. So the question is, yes, how do you win? How do you compete amongst competitors? How do you make sure that you stay afloat? How do you make sure that you cross the finishing line in due time? It is really, really important. I will give 3 key things. First of all, by you being uncommon. Number 2 is by you being swift. And number 3 is by you being imaginative. Uncommon, it's a very interesting word I might. Welcome to Ideation 101. And in Ideation 101, it's a subject where several businesses or several SMEs tend to fail. They tend to start up. They tend to even go past a 1-year threshold once they go public. And we really need to understand that if we just go back in history, we'll realize that several businesses, you're not just the first to start a business and fail. There's several people who have gone through that, through that hurdle or missed that mark. So it's really, really important for you to understand, what ideation is and take this subject really in. And I'll first start by saying, there is always a worldview, a perception. We're born into this world. So we became like a blank slate. Unfortunately or fortunately, there's a perception about reality. Certain things were told to us, this is how it is done, this is what is done. And that sort of, restricted or hindered our perception, or it sort of demarcated our perception from actual reality, so to say. So if I were to ask a question, can anyone label this call? Is it a male, female, boy, girl, black, Hispanic? It's impossible for us to do that. But one key important factor here is it belongs to a human. And amidst all the labels that have been created over time, because labels, are they really good? No. Because why? The mind is a battlefield with so many things we're trying to race against, different labels. This is good, this is bad. And we get caught up in the whole mess that we label things wrongly. We say, race, this is white, he's black. Those sort of things sort of affect our judgment. No, because he's white, he's black, racism sort of has come into play. We label people based on their intelligence quotient. IQ, he has a high IQ, that means he's intelligent. And that label is really wrong, because we've come to realize as human beings, we're all intelligent, but in different ways. I can be creatively intelligent. Somebody else might have a higher level of emotional intelligence. Some people could be very good with in business intelligence, in understanding how to read the markets and stock market. So we all have our own side or our own version of our own intelligence. So labeling someone or using that as a yardstick or a medium to, that label that, he has a higher IQ, that means he's more intelligent. It's really, really wrong. Even in terms of religion, you're in business, and as a businessman, you're going to cater to different people, different sects, both Christians, Muslims, Jews, both white, black. So if you are stuck in that label world where you cannot, go beyond your scope, then it's very, very impossible to, to thrive, because the world through digital, through the internet has become a global village. So you see, nationality as well. I was still speaking with my wife some days ago, and if you look at the map of Africa from the top view, maybe an airplane or something, you realize the continent is a map, but there's no demarcation between 2 countries, Egypt, Nigeria, Cameroon. Everything's just bare land. But because these labels have sort of come into play, it has affected how open-minded we are. And why I'm saying all this is because you need to have an open mind. You need to be a creative person. For you to be in business, you must be creative. Creativity is not just limited to art. It's also limited to opportunities. It's also limited to business intelligence. And you need to have an open mind. And that's one key thing for you to be uncommon. Because remember, I mentioned uncommon. You need to be for you to be uncommon, you need to have an open mind and you need to be creative. You know, it's important for you having an open mind or being creative. I always say, I read somewhere that there are two types of where should we toe the line. Is it in the area of generalization or specialization? Specialization is, is a vertical downward stream where you are just known for one thing and one thing only, and you're stuck in that one thing. Meanwhile, generalization is you have an idea of various topics. So it's possible for you, to have conversations about sports, about music, about science, about novels and different things in different industry. Now, for you to be uncommon, because once again, we're talking about business ideas. For you to be uncommon and for you to really do well, it's important that you have a generalized experience. You might be, you might be a chef, but imagine if you also have an idea or an experience in the photography world. Imagine combining those both of them. Of course, your pictures will stand out because those are the things that people look out for. So as I said, having a generalized experience is really important. So you must not be stuck in one particular way and say, oh no, look, I'm just an IT specialist and this is all I know. All I know how to do is program and you're writing codes. No, sometimes you just need to step back and, learn how to make a shirt, which is one of the things I'd like to learn, just to learn about making it. It's not like, oh, I want to go off venture into fashion. No, it's important to venture as in, have different experiences in different industries. That is how should I use the word originality or innovation sort of thrives, where you can take one idea from one industry, merge it with another idea, and boom, you've created something really different. Because that is how you can really be uncommon. And we ask ourselves, okay, so how different is your business idea? Oh, I'm in this business to do A, I'm in this business to do B. What makes you stand out from other people? How is your business uncommon? And if you can't really answer that, and a lot of us as entrepreneurs really fail at that because we just focus on the functionality of the business or the idea. Or I also want to start, what example would I like to use? Yeah, I would like to have an Uber business, an Uber app, but it's just going to be for staff members of companies. Okay, wonderful, but how is that different from Uber? Because you just picked a particular interest or audience, streamlined it. How exactly? So it's really important, as I said, it's really important to answer this question: how different is your business? And one key thing you need to do is you must not follow convention. Do not go with labels. You must stand out. You must be different. You must. There's a saying that it is better to be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. And that's just how it is. It's just very simple. If you are a big fish in a small pond, you are in control. You are the market leader. You can grow the market. You grow it at your own pace. You are the king. You are number one. And in anything, there's another saying that I'll always be in anything you do, no matter what, always try and be number one. Why? Because never be number two. Because the number ones are the ones we reckon with. We like the market leaders. They're the ones who, we pay as customers, we pay homage to. So if you have not positioned your idea or business to be different, and you still follow convention, you're going the way others are doing it, how would you stand out? How would I notice you? There's so many. Right now, we're bombarded with ads in different forms, shapes, and dimension. On your phones, there are adverts, at least you will see. On TV, you step outside, the billboards, everyone is trying to talk to you. The only things you really notice, because our attention span, according to some scientific studies, our attention span has really diminished. So right now, in 6 seconds or less than 3 seconds, we can get a particular message and it would stick to us. But, so much things, there's too many things that are distracting us now. So except something stands out among all these pencils, we can identify, the red pencil because it's red, because it's different. It's not following convention. So I would always say, create a new market or redefine it. So every idea you have, it will definitely belong to a market, an industry. So it's either you create a new one or you redefine it. Redefining it, as I said, create a new market or redefine it. 20 years ago, nothing like Netflix existed. They decided to create a new market. Yes, streaming online, even 30 years ago, who would have thought, YouTube would have been, even the platform we're currently using now as well, Zoom. If you were to ask a target audience, a potential customer in 1995 or 2005, that, what do you think about having a virtual meeting and all whatnot? Most people will be like, no, I don't get, I have to see the person, I have to see him in person, how would it work? So it's important for you to identify, be able to identify or create a new or market you find yourself. I'll list 3 examples. Tolu wants to start a dry cleaning business. Already, that market or industry is the dry cleaning industry. Based on the label dry cleaning, we have already limited the potency or the ability for this business to stand out or be different. Because when you go to a dry cleaning service or an office, a dry cleaning office, most likely you would find, in this part of the world, most likely you will find a receptionist, a rack, maybe at the back of the receptionist, of people's clothes in a transparent nylon. At the back office, that's where all the washing and ironing and everything is done. What's the business model? A customer comes, drops their outfits or clothes, they are given a date to come pick it up, they come, boom, that's the end. You now want to start that. You have several people who are already doing that, and you decide that, you want to venture into that industry as well and create it. If I do an analysis, at least there's several people here. Well, now there's a self-service dry cleaning business where you just go put in your coin. Well, in the developed countries, you have that, except for very sophisticated fabric. Also, advertisement. In the advertising industry, you have several people who just, they want to start their own digital marketing agency, and they just say, I'm a digital marketer, or I want to start this in the advertising industry. Because of that label advertisement, you limit what you can do, you limit how you are perceived. Also, you say, someone else decides, I want to start up a makeup business, or I'm very good at, contouring people's faces. I think I would like to start up a makeup business. That idea has been streamlined because of the existing industry. In my language, native language, they say the name actually defines the content. So they say in Yoruba, so it's important that when you decide and choose to stick with your the industry, you have already limited how potent that industry, your idea can be. So yeah, we have dry cleaning, advertisement, makeup. Let's change the dry cleaning industry to something else. So what if I say, no, I'm sorry, I'm no longer, I'm creating my own market, my own industry, and it's called the fabric renewal. And what that means is I'm not just doing your normal dry cleaning service where you give me your fabrics and I give you a tentative date to come pick it up. No. What if a button is missing and that button is really special or it's very scarce? Could it be that I could also offer that service? Yes, I can. An added revenue. What if when we mean fabric renewal, you know, there's some clothes we really love. I have a sweater I have a sweater my late mom had, and I cherish it so much. If there's a hole there, I would definitely like to fix it because I would like to wear it. So what if in my fabric renewal business, I also have that opportunity for people who maybe their clothes have faded and they want you to dye it or bring back, rejuvenate the color. Yes, it's possible. An added revenue stream. You can think, you're all creative, you can also think about different things you can do by just changing the name of that industry. We are in the fabric renewal business. So there's several things. Oh, there's a stain that is so hard. There's a stain that is so hard to remove. Yes, you can add that service to yours. Would you be able to stand out with somebody else who is all they're just doing is a dry cleaning? You bring their stuff, they dry clean. You're way, way different. Your workforce would also change because you might most likely get someone who is very good at dyeing clothes, someone who is good at mending outfits and all whatnot. And you could decide to even take it a top notch, have a virtual a website where people can do all this things. So yeah, so you've already changed that industry. Advertisement, you say, oh, I'm in the advertising industry. I tell people I'm in the brand storytelling industry. And what is brand storytelling? It's more or less the creative interpretation of strategy. And at the end of the day, what exactly does advertising do? It's about storytelling. That's how it is. Storytelling has been since ages. All that has just changed is the means of the communication, of passing the message across. For the cavemen, according to Darwinians, the cavemen, they were all writing. They needed to communicate. They needed to tell stories, and the best way they could do that was by drawing. Before they even, I'm sure you're aware of the Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens. Yeah, they drew things they saw in real life. Oh, I saw a cow. They would draw something close to it. That's another form of storytelling. Eventually, they developed language where they could talk, and they put syllable words, alphabets together, symbols, and pronunciation came into play. And now, storytelling has advanced. It has gone from just reading books to movies, to cartoons, to 3D. So things have really changed. So I'm not just here to sell. I'm here to tell a story, and people are more, interested. And they're more engaged when they are being told stories, and it sticks. So if I say, oh, I'm in the advertising or advertising industry, I would really get it wrong because I would just do the same thing other people are doing. Third, I say, oh, makeup, I want to do makeup. Makeup has already restricted you. But what if you say, that's just examples I'm just giving, but what if you say, oh, I'm in the spice up industry? What does spice up mean? So we're not just making you up, we are spicing up your life. Because yes, you do makeup on occasion when maybe they need to go to a special function or engagement. But what happens? What if they go there and they don't know how to dance? Is it possible that you are that spice up company that you take someone from 0 to 100, teaching them etiquette, teaching them how to dance, making them up, teaching them how to groom their hair. See, you've created a difference. So when you just say makeup, you've just restricted yourself to just contouring faces. But when you say, oh, the spice up, we've taken it a top notch. And that's how it's important for you to look at things, for you to define or redefine the market, or even create a new one. So I always say, I've always had this issue about people who talk about brand, because your idea is a brand. your whatever business you want to do, if you do not define the brand properly, then you are doomed to fail. And that is just it. And for me, this is my own definition of a brand. It is a promise, 3 keywords. It's a promise ingeniously designed from its purpose that has a unique experience crafted from its personality. I apologize, 4 words. Promise, purpose, experience, and personality. So the first key word here is your purpose. What are you in this business for? If you do not have a defined purpose that even your employees can see and they can understand and assimilate at a goal, there's going to be chaos. And sometimes, so your purpose will most likely define what your promise is. Your promise statement is something that constantly resonates to your across board. Now, your personality, because every brand, every business idea, it has a personality. You look at the top brands, there's a personality they follow. There's an archetype, most of them do or have. So if you do not have a good personality, if you haven't, because the brand is human, so to say, your business might be even you. Your business idea might be you, becoming an artist. That means you definitely need to have some personal branding done to make sure that you do not go out of script or out of character. So it's from those personalities that you are able to create an experience. Experience is what you see around, or what you can see, what you can feel, what you can taste, what you can touch. Is a particular personality, and most likely these personalities are what the employees, what you as a person will imbibe. Until you go to Disneyland, for example, they all have different personalities, but they have a promise. It's a magical place, and you can see a Mickey Mouse. Guess what? The Mickey Mouse you see today is not the Mickey Mouse. It is the same Mickey Mouse, sorry, you would see tomorrow. But there are different people who wear those costumes or outfits, but they stay in character. And what you can see is the experience that you can sense the experience, or rather you can experience the experience, if I'm to use that word. But that personality is what has made it possible for us to understand or translate the experience into mean, oh, this is a character, or this is a brand character. Batman, for several years as a brand, since the creation of Batman or Superman, certain things have not changed. Certain personalities have not changed. Different actors, but same personality, same experience. Oh, he was Batman's dad, and mom died when he was young. He was afraid of bats, eventually, blah, 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 blah. Superman, kryptonite. So it's important to define your brand properly, and everything starts from your purpose. And I've come to realize that is where a lot of business entrepreneurs, SMEs, get it wrong. This is a typical example of what we usually do when we say we want to write our vision and mission statement. We say, oh, our mission is to be, and this is real. This is what I got from one of the internet service providers in Nigeria. Our mission is to be Nigeria's premier internet service provider, most admired for its customer experience, professionalism, reliability, flexibility, responsiveness, innovative products and services, and exemplary corporate citizenship. As a creative person, can I translate this into something believable that even the employees can even understand? No. We put big words, bogus words, because, oh, we're an encyclopedia, or we are very good at Scrabble Go. We score 500 points on Scrabble. We believe that, oh, with big words comes big, you have to use those words, flexibility, responsiveness, professionalism. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean anything. The service is still crap. Your customers are maybe just with you because your network is better in their area. If another person comes with a lower tariff plan, they will jump ship. This is an example of what we usually do. So I said, what if we change this core purpose and we create something more believable? Here's a refined version. Our core is to easily take people on a voyage into a virtual world where we help them achieve limitless possibilities by encouraging the use of their imagination. Remember, I said it's an ISP company. It's an internet service provider. And what do we do on the internet? The internet is a virtual world. So they easily take us on that voyage where we travel into a virtual world, and they're also helping us achieve the limitless possibilities by encouraging the use of our imagination. So with that, it is more believable to say, interesting, okay. So what should the logo be? Nice, the logo might be, a space shuttle. Okay, nice, I like that. So what are the brand elements? How can we, in terms of marketing, how do we market this? How do we, okay, maybe marketing, perhaps we can just have, an astronaut just, walking into a mall and, people are taking pictures, they're wondering what is happening, or there is a balloon-like spaceship, a spaceship-like balloon tied to a car or like a rocket. And, those are little elements that you get to build, because guess what? A virtual voyage, you can now stretch it. As a creative person, you can now stretch it and say, oh, I can interpret this into this. Okay, so they're taking us, this is a voyage. Oh, okay, nice. Oh, it's more believable, much more believable than the previous one. Most admired for its customer experience, professionalism, reliability, flexibility. All these big words for your ideas, and at the end, nah. So it's important to, refine your core purpose. From that purpose, I've already spoken about the personality of the brand, which is going to be what? An explorer. And that's why I used an astronaut, for example. And I'd already defined what the logo option might be, to everything all synchronizing together from this purpose. And you can always let people know, look, you are always, you can create your promise statement from that. Then your experience, as I said, elements, brand elements, you can use a space shuttle, balloon, an astronaut, just different things. And it's possible to just create over and over and over again. And, so it's also important that every business idea has a need that it's meeting. But, that's where it usually stops. What your business idea, what needs are you meeting? I strongly believe that we need to stop that. We need to stop there, or rather we need to cut that away and put exceeding. You need to go way and over beyond. What needs are you exceeding? You're meeting that need, but you're going above it. Because if you are limiting yourself to, okay, I'm just meeting this basic need and that's all, somebody else is going to come and do that and meet that basic need as well. Might even be a cheaper one, and that's when you enter the price war, where you have to go lower and lower, and eventually your production costs outweighs your profit, and you're out of business in no time. So it's about thinking about what needs are you exceeding? What are you doing what intangible benefit, if I'm to use that word? There are always two things an idea or a business always gives people, both the tangible and the intangible. When I mean tangible is, I have a car. I got a car, it moves me from point A to point B. But intangible, I own a Ferrari. Just dangling that key alone, it sends a signal that I'm a successful person, that I'm rich, I can take care of myself, I am attractive. Girls would really want to flock over me, or, and most times when you have things like that, you will not want to put it in your pocket. No, you want to, put it in your hand and just spin your hand, or put it, or just hold it, or just put it on the table just for people to see, because it has given you just beyond the basic need, which is transportation. No, it has taken you a step higher, which is, it has boosted your self-esteem. So whatever idea you are thinking about, if it can't exceed that need, there's going to be a serious consequence because you'll be in it. And, you know, it's really important. And there's something called the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a very wonderful pyramid. I heard it has been updated, but I always look at it and I'm in awe of how they've put together our needs. Below you can see, our physiological needs, which is breathing, food, water. So if you decide, I just want to, start a water company and all I'm just offering them is just water. Or food, people are coming to my restaurant, I'm cooking, I cook wonderful meals. If that is all you are meeting, if that's all the needs you're meeting, then you won't be there for long. Safety is the next one. As you can see, physiological safety, love and belonging, esteem and actualization. That's self-esteem, confidence, achievement, that's where a lot of people hit, a lot of brands, because when you feel good, imagine a woman wearing maybe a Victoria's Secret lingerie, or she's holding or clutching a Chanel bag. There is a different level of confidence she exudes. And those are the things these brands give the people. It's just a bag. It's in that physiological need. It's just a bag. I just want to put something in it. No, but they've exceeded that expectation. So it's really important that, whatever idea you're thinking about, you need to, really plan it and say, okay, yes, beyond the tangible, which anyone can see, what are the intangibles that we can actually give these people? I would cite an example. Self-actualization is one of the things Apple has really done. Self-actualization, meaning they have so much empowered the creative people, the artists, the app developers, game makers. So it's not just about, we're selling products. We're also saying, look, we're also giving you an opportunity to also make money, to also, reach a level where, an aspirational level where you feel fulfilled. So it's really, really important that you understand all this. The question I'd like to ask, are you guys intimate with your audience? When we in the business world, we want to, define who our target audience are. We say, age, sex, location, boom. Age, sex, location, their demographic, their psychography, how do they think? Unfortunately, we just look at data and that's all we just get. We collect their data and we think, this person lives in this area. Sean lives in Lagos. Sean is most likely would want to hang out with his friends. So Sean might want to drink this bottle. Okay, Sean likes something sweet. So we're going to do a mixture of cocktail, something sweet. But at the end of the day, we often fail at, defining who our target audience is. And that's because we're not really intimate with them. It means we really do not study them. And, that's why right now there is a consciousness of we being monitored, of our data being sold to the highest bidders. When I mean our data, people who are really doing this, you hear of the Facebooks, the likes of Facebook, Google, they have so much embedded themselves into our lives. They've changed the way marketing is done. So bad. As in, it's not just about you having a billboard erected on the highway, which is not interactive, which speaks to virtually everyone. But imagine your mobile phone, which is the most personal device to you. And you constantly, through a lot of algorithms and data tracking, they give you the ads that you want. I had a conversation, I remembered I was having a conversation with my cousin about, I was at his house and I mentioned, what did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned an aquarium. We're talking about an aquarium, growing up, it was quite, it was predominant. It was very visible in people's houses, the eloquent people. Now, not really. And 10 minutes afterwards, I just took my phone and I was on my Instagram, trying to read, get some information, and voila, there was an ad about an aquarium. I had never searched for an aquarium. So these guys are so much intimate with us. It's not just about our data, it's our bio data, our behavioral data, where we're going, Google has all that information. So I'm not saying, go so deep and start stalking people. No. All I'm saying is you must really try to have a very deep understanding of who your target audience, who they really are. It's not just, I've always been a believer that one of the wrongest things, as a lot of advertising agencies do, is you have a focus group. That means you call different people together who are in the age range of the potential target audience of a product. And you now start asking them questions, you're playing scenarios, and they're answering those questions. And you feel, and they get that, and they give that back to the, the business owners, their clients, and say, oh, look, this based on this information, this is what ought to be. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't even know what we want. We don't know what, a lot of us are just, we're like a snowball just going down, and unfortunately, it's not one of the best ways. Sometimes it's good to just, observe someone or your target audience in an unconscious state. Just go around maybe to a club or to a church or to a gathering and just listen. That is when you are there. It would actually reveal to you a whole lot more than when they know there's a mic in front of them and you want to get as much information as possible. So oftentimes people create, because we do not really understand our audience, we create ideas for ourselves. So the idea is in our head. It's just like someone, right now I can, bang the table to a particular beat. No, I can hum to something and it's in my head. I know the song, well, I might not even know the lyrics, but I know the song I'm humming to, and I'm going on and on and on. Unfortunately, this person beside me has no idea what I'm singing. That's how our ideas are most of the time. It's so ripe in our head. It is so perfect. We've already structured it in such a way that it can never fail. So we've created our ideas, our business ideas for ourselves, not for our target audience. We put ourselves into it, and it's understandable because most business owners imbibe their personality into their brand, into their idea. You have an example outside. So you have the Virgin brand, whose Sir Richard Branson's brand personality rubs into that Virgin brand. Being adventurous, being daring. Steve Jobs, his personality of how he loves perfection, how he's attentive to detail, rubs off on Apple. So different founders, they sort of put or imbibe their personality into the brand. But it's important to know that, this is a business and I'm going to be selling this business to other people. So you must take into cognizance that you don't create ideas for yourself. Google Plus created, there was always a joke then that Google Plus created the app for just their employees, because going by the user experience, it was awful. In the likes of the fact that they were trying to compete with Facebook, really messed them up because they invested tons of money in it. Well, it wasn't successful, but yeah, they got out of it. I know now they're trying to compete with Zoom, how Facebook, so it's important, as I said, that we do not just create ideas for ourselves. So for me, when you are doing an idea formation, and I mean when you are taking whatever idea you have to reality, there are three components you need to cross. There are three important things you need to get. Your idea has to have those three. And if it doesn't, then it won't last for long. Number one is your idea has to be beautiful. We're all human beings. We are all attracted to beautiful things. When I mean, yeah, some people will say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but I haven't really met anyone who has told me that a Ferrari car, a red Ferrari car, is ugly. Beauty is in the form, the shape, the texture, the color, you know, it's in those details. And if your idea isn't beautiful, if your product is not beautiful, if your work, whatever you do, is not beautiful, it's not attractive, because beauty attracts people. So the first thing we notice is, oh wow, this person is fine, this person is beautiful, this product looks really good, it's beautiful. Life when it's simple, it looks beautiful. That's the first thing that gets them to you. So if your idea isn't sexy, if it's not beautiful, if it's not attractive, then you won't get anyone. From the way you're designed, you know, those little details that you might overlook, how your design is, how the placement of your logo, the design of your logo, the placement of your ads, how the images look like, the actors you use or the models you use, the product prototype, how attractive and is it if you don't get it right. I think it's something I just wish, this is the first time I'm having a webinar, so it's just strange, I'm just the only one speaking, but we as human beings are attracted to beautiful things. So if your product, if your business, even you as a person, if you're not attractive, meaning if you do not have that courage or charisma, or you do not pick the right clothes, you know, or style your hair the perfect way, or get the perfect shade or an ideal shade for lipstick or something, no, you will just fade into the darkness. So it's really important that your product or your idea in itself is beautiful. So as I said, beautiful, that means attract. So once your product can attract me, what's the next thing? Functionality. Is your product functional? So I see your product from afar, I see your idea from afar, I go forward to look at it, then I look at the functionality. So is it functional? Is it something, oh, it's beautiful, oh, nice, okay, let me test the functionality, let me see if this thing really works. And if it does work, and that is where a ton of work has to be done. You can't just say, oh, your food cannot just look so beautiful. You know, you use the latest camera to capture that food and you edit it, you know, you make the image pop. This food is beautiful, I'm already drooling. And lo and behold, you know, you just take a scoop, a spoon, and unfortunately it's bland. It's not spicy, or it's not tasty. That's a major problem. It's not functional. Oh, it's just beauty. No. So, or you see a Ferrari and oh, you get into it, and it can't even move you for 100 meters. So it's important that with beauty, you know, to convert people, you first need to attract them. To convert people, you need to attract them. And that conversion really happens in your product or idea functionality. Okay, this thing is versatile, this thing can do A, it can do B, it can do C, it can open the door for me. This laptop, I can get all my work done on it, and I can even sign onto my laptop remotely and all whatnot. So functionality is really key, and you must really get it right. And the third one is empowerment. So you attract people, the potential customers, you convert them through your function. Okay, it's a good product, I like it, it's wonderful. The third one is your empowerment. If your product cannot empower people, so it's not just about you making revenue all the time. There's a reason why YouTube still exists, because yes, they still empower the creators. I always tell people there's a difference between Facebook and YouTube. Facebook, yes, is trying to be that mega superstar. And they're also investing, because right now, most of the internet users consume a lot of video. Video is the most preferred content type. But there's a difference. YouTube empowers the creators, the content creators, by splitting revenue with the content creators, revenue gotten from the advertisers. But on Facebook, you are the content creator. They have an algorithm that limits the number of followers you have. So you are also going to boost or promote your own content to your own to your own followers who have already liked your post. And you are the content creator, you are the advertiser, you're even the viewer, because you're also going to view it. So it's brands like, look at Apple, for example, as well. They have an ecosystem, or even Android, Google, which is the Android, they have an ecosystem. They have a system where I'm a developer, they're empowering me. I can develop a game. I have this wonderful idea, transform it into an app. I monetize it. I'm also empowered. So I'm making money while they're also making money. So if your business cannot, and this is the last stage, if your business cannot empower people, at the end, there was just, there's always going to be, you'll be stuck in the middle, which is the functional part. And you thrive until a competitor comes who goes beyond, over and beyond, and who empowers them and says, oh, look, you're using my product, thank you very much. If you bring 2 more people for the next 1 month, I would give you a product for free. He has empowered me. Of course, my loyalty would most likely tilt towards them. So it's important to have those 3 in check. And your ideas need an ecosystem to thrive. It is really important. An ecosystem is, don't just think of your idea as one thing. Your idea is like an apple. An apple comes from a tree, obviously. And that's the end result, or orange. Those fruits come from a tree. They're just one thing, you see them in your house and you just look at it and say, okay, this is an orange. But to have produced that orange, it came from a tree plant that has deep roots in the soil, where nutrients over time, it has their leaves, their branches. There's so much complexity behind that at the end, all you just get to see in the supermarket is a mango or an orange. But there is a structure in place to make sure that what you see is actually something really, really, is something that tangible and intangible that you can hold and you can say, oh, yes. So you need to have an ecosystem. Everything has to be connected. It's a lot of, it's not just for you to, ideas are not done alone. So you can't just think about a car, what it takes for you to create a car. There's so many parts. There are companies, you'll be surprised that I'm sure some of you are aware that Toyota they don't manufacture glass, the car mirrors and and a lot of equipment in the cars at all. There's someone who does doorknob. There's a company who specializes in just making horns, the car horn. There is someone who is specialized in, the fabric. Well, that might be done by the company. But there's someone who's just specialized in making bringing certain things together, the tires. So your idea needs to have an ecosystem to thrive. It's really important. And there are 2 key things you need to do. First of all, create a business model. And second of all, create a brand experience. The business model, very simple. I said it's very simple, but this is an example of an Apple business model. It's important for you to do this. And it has to be a balance between brand and business. Your brand is a business. Your business is to create a brand, a lasting brand. And your business model canvas sort of helps you understand. So many people that I remember having a conversation with a friend who wanted to start up a business. And I said, okay, what's your business plan? He didn't have it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I won't even take you serious if you don't have a business plan. A business model is a simplified version of that. So you can see it at a glance that, okay, this is what I want to do. But it's really important to even go deeper and further in having a business plan. And that plan would, because you would immerse yourself, first of all, you do a lot of research, which you would document, which you can share with trusted advisors. And it sort of helps you have an idea of what you want to do. I look at the revenue streams, for example. They have the product, in this example, Apple, they have the product sales, they have the media and licensing, they have the subscription revenue. So you can see in a nutshell how Apple really works. So, and serve your own business can also, whatever idea you have can also fit into this. For the brand experience, it's important to know that, as I said, when I mentioned the brand, the experience is gotten from the personality. The experiences are the things people will touch, taste, see, feel, and all whatnot. This is just a summary of some of the experiences. You need to have an online experience. So the social media, the logo and the colors that you choose for your social media banner, is it in sync with your brand? Are your logos, are you going to alter your logos because your logo might be so much, might be horizontal, and that might not fit into maybe the profile picture of your page. So you might you might just need to have a logo, just maybe the icon there. Different things, your mobile adverts, how have you tailored it, the images you intend to use. For your on-ground experience, those are the things, maybe you have a store, what are people going to see there, the pop-up stores, or whatnot, your POS, the tours, your target events and shows, all those things, your guerrilla experience, maybe the street teams, people who are going to go on the road, personal experience as well. What are the things you would share? You're going to have a blog, your mass media experience, print, TV, online, all those little things. How do you make sure that it is still tied towards your brand personality? That anyone who sees it can tell that, oh, that's a Virgin brand. I don't even need to see their logo. I can tell that's a Virgin brand, or that's a Coca-Cola advert. So it's important to have those two. You have your business model and you have your brand experience. You spread everything out so you can actually see. It's sort of your mind mapping. So you can actually see all these things from an aerial view. Yeah, someone's going to speak about this, but it's also important. Yeah, you have great ideas. In building them, you need to have the right team. It's really important. And as I said, most times, it's good to have some team members who have a general idea of different things. There are people who were even hired. There's stories of people who were hired from a different industry to come. I know there's a brand, I can't remember, but there was a brand who chose their creative director. The brand, I think, is it Coca-Cola? Or it's a drink product or a drink brand, and they got their creative director from the fashion industry. And it sort of helps. So it's important for you to know the right team who you're choosing, not just because they all need to have an open mind. So, when you're having conversations and debates, they do not dilute your brand. They do not just water, let's just do it like that. Let's just use this picture. No, but it doesn't really tell. It's not a good quality, but no, for cost's sake or something, you decide to just let that go. So it's important, I said three things from the beginning. How do you win? By being uncommon. So I stated all that. By you being swift, thanks to the robotic age that has come into play right now. We're in that robotic age where a lot of things have been altered, a lot. if time travel exists and we could bring a child or a man from the early 50s or 60s to our world now, I'm sure they will be surprised. And imagine if someone was locked up for 30 years and was incarcerated and released, and they get to see the fast-paced life. I'm sure they would all be surprised and they'll be taken aback. So we're in that robotic age where it has affected how we pray. It has affected us in different ways. It has affected how we pray. It has affected how we protest. You know, we call some people Twitter warriors right now because, you know, they just go on Twitter and rant. But in person, they can't lift a finger. You know, it's so funny. Cyberbullying has just taken a new dimension. It has also affected how we fight wars. You know, way back then, you had different departments in the military. I'm sure we first had the cavalry, who were the ones engaged in, you know, physical battles, hand-on-hand combat and all whatnot. You had the artillery. Eventually, when an innovation came into being, or an invention came into being, which was water transportation, boats, they had to create the naval department. Several decades later, early 90s, sorry, did I say early 90s? Sorry, 1900s, early 1900s. It became more commercial, that you could fly planes. So we had the Air Force Department. So you can see how things have really changed. Now we have, because it has, as I said, it has changed how we fight wars. We even have the digital department, or should I call it digital department, or the well, I think you understand what I'm trying to get at. There's an arm for just, you know, digital warfare, and where, you know, espionages are done. Just a bug, you write a code, a program, put it in an app, and boom, send it to a country like Syria or Japan to just target their nuclear plants and all whatnot. So different things have changed. The robotic age has changed a lot, how we fight wars, and it's even changed how we will survive. It's affecting how we will survive. There's so much depression right now. Just imagine if your internet, maybe a power surge knocks your network grid, and you don't have internet for a week. A lot of us will ask ourselves, well, there's some of us who can still remember how life used to be when before the advent of the internet. You know, where you had to travel all the way, maybe for 2 hours, to go visit someone, and lo and behold, they are not at home, or you have to send a letter. But now, with how things are now swift in such a way that you can communicate. Well, we're all communicating, but you can see my screen, but you're not 100 miles within my range. So things have really, really changed. You know, so it has affected how we survive. Depression, people get depressed over social media posts, or do not get enough likes, or people are bullying me online and all whatnot. Jobs are being lost. A lot of people are losing their jobs. You know, in the manufacturing industries, there are more robots now doing certain things because they are more efficient and less errors. So it's important for your idea to embrace technology. If you right now, even with this COVID, if your idea, as in several people have lost their jobs. So as we speak, if your idea does not and has not integrated technology into it, if it is just human capital, there will be a major problem. So it's important we've even entered the digital age, the digital era. So it's important that your idea embraces technology. Why? Because technology is swift, it's accurate, and it is scalable. Swift meaning I'm talking to you right now and you're listening to, there might be a lag of maybe 2 seconds, but yes, you're still getting that message. Compared to me traveling all the way to the UK or the States to visit you to talk. So it's swift. it's accurate. It pinpoints the place and all whatnot. You can tell by the geolocation, even if it is not 100%, but at least it is 99.9% accurate. And it's also scalable. You know, you can move things. Your website can be a website. It can eventually become an e-commerce. It can become a social commerce. It can become a mobile app. It is scalable. You can have a server that just caters to maybe that is configured for 100 gigabytes. A server can, you know, move to become maybe a 2 terabyte, and you can. So it's scalable and all whatnot. So it's important. It's really, really important. And you know, that's why we spoke about being Swift. It's important your business has whatever idea you have or you're trying to conceive, inculcates technology or embraces technology. So first of all, we spoke about Swift, on being uncommon in Swift. And the third is imaginative. Imagination is really good, and for us and for business owners, we won't really say the word imagination, but rather we would say innovation. And innovation, and for you to be imaginative, you definitely need to be innovative. And I've always come to studying the history of businesses and their industries. There has always been a paradigm shift. It always occurs. Something happens. An asteroid might strike the Earth, or there might be a flood, and only those people who were, you know, could perceive or were innovative enough or were imaginative enough to you know, sense that there's a change coming, and constructed, you know, an ark. And even the animals who decided, who were willing to do that, there's always a paradigm shift. Something happens. In the 60s, you have a maybe a 200 kilogram of a structure or a product that is only just 500 kilobytes. Something, a big ass machine that can fit your room and is maybe just 500 kilobytes or 1 MB. Now, just maybe a slightly bigger, it's not even as big as your thumb. You have a micro SD card that is, have I seen 60 gigabytes? Yeah, I have. I have seen 60, I've seen 120 gig. Things have changed. Technology has gone in an exponential rate that we can't even imagine. So there's always a paradigm shift. Something happens in every industry. Before there was no Facebook, it was high five. Before there wasn't a Google Mail, there was no even, we didn't even send emails before. It was postal, through the post office. Before, there were no electric cars. There were not even cars, heck. It was, we're all just moving around with, on horse carriages and all whatnot. Before, we didn't have air condition. We had just fans. Before even the fans, we just relied on the winds to just come into our homes and cool us off. Something always happens. A paradigm shift always occurs. Now, there are 3 types of businesses. Those who resist change. Those ones, for example, Kodak. Kodak in the 70s, permit me if I'm by, no, in the 70s/80s, a staff member actually developed the digital camera. Kodak made tons of money. They were a mega company way back then in the 70s and 60s because they sold things like, you know, the camera, which was analog, and the film. And they also sold the chemicals that you use to, you know, get the film, wash it, and you know, turn it from negative to become what it is. And they made tons of money. But there was something brewing. Someone in a staff member actually developed the first ever digital camera, but they just still felt, oh, you know, people are still going to want a physical copy. So they didn't take cognizance of it. They didn't change. They stuck in their old ways. And what happened? the digital camera came into being, we don't hardly do even, except we go for weddings, especially in Nigeria, where people get to take pictures and they come to meet us with the actual copies. We have our mobile phones. Even cameras have changed. We have mobile phones that double that. You have your mobile phone doubles, or your smartphone doubles as a camera, as a laptop, because you can send emails and all whatnot. It doubles as a SMS. Sorry, did I say SMS? It doubles as a postal service, because you can send messages to people. Their phone numbers have become their postal code. You can even use it to scan documents. You can use it to record. So you don't need, when you go for interviews, you don't need to have that recorder. You can as well just take this to record. So it has sort of cannibalized a lot of other businesses who have resisted to change. Just imagine Kodak had transformed or had, piloted the digital camera age, and it even went a step further to create an Instagram. Their business would have survived over time, but unfortunately, they resisted to change. So right now, COVID-19 has just shown people right now that if you're still doing things the old way, it's possible for you to still be productive and let your employees work from home. But if you're still stuck in, everyone has to come, you have to clock in, and that clock-in system is still the analog one where you have to maybe put your thumb, maybe press a button, or you have a card that you have to put inside and all whatnot. It'll be difficult for your business to survive. The second type of businesses, those who change because they were unsuccessful. Those ones who came late, the late bloomers. Okay, this is happening. So I think just like how you have Google, Zoom, their shares soared and billions. They're worth billions now. And Google decided, okay, I think we should have a Google Duo meeting. Let's also tap into that. So you have the likes of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, who is one of my favorite artists ever. He's not even just an artist, he's a revolutionary. I would have never imagined a Fela Anikulapo Kuti, well, if not for YouTube, singing rhythm and blues. That was his original music genre. And was he successful? Nah. He had to come back. He realized, oh, this is not it. He realized it. And he retraced his steps, came back to Africa, went to Ghana, met up with, I can't remember his name, was it Paul? No, not Paul Allen, sorry. Met up with someone else. And guess what they did? They created their own markets. They created a niche, which was Afrobeats, which still survives till date. They created a different industry, different genre of music, and he became successful. He spoke, his songs were stories. They were stories. Some are fictitious, some are realistic. Stories of the struggle of the Nigerian government, the struggles of Nigeria, the Nigerian people, military area and all whatnot. And he became a success, as in people who did not, and he sang in Pidgin. And he's a living, sorry, I said living legend, I apologize. He's a legend. He made his mark. If he were still alive, who says, well, his son actually got nominated, not once, not twice. There's so many people who have now, adopted the Afrobeat as their own genre of music, or try to create their own type. But Femi Kuti got the Grammy nomination not once, not twice. I want to guess it's at least 3 times. And you have several artists who are there, who are singing hip hop and whose lifespan do not exceed 5 years or 3 years. 10 if they're even lucky. 20 if they're very, very good. Very good. So it's important that if you want to be in this category, well, you might be a late bloomer. So the third type of people are those who change despite their previous success. We all know the story of Steve Jobs, how, yeah, he founded Apple, was kicked out, and, you know, he came back again at the end and he created a revolutionary product or brand, and it changed it till date, even after his death. It's still, you know, soaring high. But what we don't really understand, or some of the things I feel a lot of us are not privileged to understand, is the fact that Steve Jobs left Apple. He was, you know, growing Apple, but because of the people, that's why your team members, you know, they didn't see that vision. And he might have been a bit, you know, childish at some point, or a bit strong-headed, or should I say he was not aware of boardroom politics. He wasn't so aware of it. Yeah, eventually what happened to him? He got kicked out. But if you look back at things he did, he founded Next Computers, which at least did fairly well. He founded Apple. Sorry, I said Apple, I apologize. He founded Next Computers. He founded Pixar. Pixar did extreme till date. He had other businesses. So he was not just, oh, this is the only business idea I have, and this is how it's going to be done. And if I don't do it like this, oh no, I'm going to crash or something. Yeah, it pained him, he let it go, but he was successful in other things. So it's important that, and you know, it's important that even as you're the market leader, as you are successful, it's important to always use your rearview mirror to look back, and also use your eyes to look front and know that, oh, what are the opportunities? What are the changes in human behavior, in technology? How can I adapt to it? How can I stay ahead? So it is really, really important that despite your success, oh yeah, you're doing this well, you made this X amount of profit, how else can you, you know, that what else question, what else can you do? How else can I, you know, make an impact? Those things need to be, you know, you need to inculcate that habit. So by being imaginative, by being innovative, it always leads to you outgrowing your competition because you are constantly innovative, your sustainable long-term success, and yeah, profitable changes in your organization because you are innovative. Yeah, and it always leads to increased revenue because everyone loves an innovative company or brand, even people, even your staff members. So to just wrap it up, it's important that, yeah, your business idea, whatever it is, however you structured it to be in whatever industry, if you do not satisfy, you need to go through these steps. You need to satisfy your customers. You need to delight them, make them, you know, excited about your brand, about your idea. You need to engage. Your brand has to be engaging. Your idea has to be really engaging. And at the end, you need to empower them. It's really important that you go through this route because it's one thing to start a business. It's another thing to sustain that business. And at the end of it, whatever your business is, either you're selling animal feed or you sell fish, or you are a farmer, you plant crops. Or you're even selling cars. At the end of it, your customer is still one person. It's still one entity, and that's humans. Your customer is still a human being. A cow or a dog will not pay you money. It's not possible. It's still a human that will buy your product to give to his dog. So at the end of it, if you do not really put your idea to test, or you do not sync your idea with your customers in play, and you know you do not take them through this journey, it would really, really be detrimental to your business. So it's important that, yes, when others are zigging, you zag. When people are going left, but I'm not saying, oh, just do it for the fun of it, that, oh, I just want to be the odd one out. No, always find a reason to do things differently and, you know, stand out. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, Olaolu. That was really, really powerful and very, very insightful. So just to kind of wrap up, I think the key thing is for you to make sure that you're defining the right story for your idea. When it comes to identifying the right idea, you are also thinking about what need can you not just meet, but also exceed as well. And I think the points that Olaolu has shared here have been very, very powerful. Unfortunately, I've not really seen anybody ask any questions just yet. I think maybe that's because a lot of people are really, really reflecting on the information that has been shared. But I just want us to take a few more moments to just ask out there, does anybody have any questions? Please, you can either raise your hand, or so you can use the raise your hand feature, or you can put it in the Q&A and I would read it out. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so Olaolu, I guess the only question I would have to ask you here is, especially in regards to this uncertain time, a lot of people might be thinking that, oh, how do I start a business in the midst of a pandemic? What type of ideas or what kind of needs can I identify and exceed? And is it going to be plausible for me to start a business now? What would be your response to an entrepreneur that has that thought?
Okay, so for me, I believe that there are always two sides to a story: opportunity and hardship. And this pandemic has, brought a lot of hardship, but interestingly, that also brought a lot of opportunities, and it has really shown that amidst the different types of business and different types of needs, there are some basic needs that, exceed everything else. And some of them might be in the agricultural sector. Food, for example, is a necessity. So is it right to start a business now? Yes. Do you really have your thoughts put together to make sure that you come out on top, to make sure that you do a due diligence? You might not be able to do that now because you need to go out and, some offices are not open. Yeah, there's a lot you can get online, but sometimes you actually need to study people, know certain patterns and all whatnot. So that might not be feasible at the moment. But it depends on the business actually. So, but for businesses that, are more in the virtual space, well, it's possible to do some form of, research to know who are the likely or target audiences and how well put together your business is, and who are the potential team members, to put in the mix so that you create something really compelling. So it's a question that I would say, there's never a right time. I always hear this: done is better than perfect. It's better to start something. Do not be afraid to fail. Yeah, you might not pick up, but do not be afraid to fail. Start something, and along the line, you get to learn a lot. And that's how ideas are really developed. It's not the first step you take. No, it's about the continuous process, and you get to learn as much as possible and fine-tune your ideas. So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think the key thing here is that you start, and then if you're going to fail, then fail quickly and learn quickly from that failure, and then move on from there as well. So I for example, I always had it in mind that I was going to start this Building Future Entrepreneur series this year. When COVID came, I was like, my God, this is not going to take place. But actually, upon reflection, I then discovered that it even brings a better opportunity for us to have this content, because people can then watch it from the convenience of their own homes. So please don't allow. I think just bringing a bit of biblical perspective to it. The Bible says that if you watch the weather before you sow, you wouldn't sow. So don't worry about the climate. If you have an idea that is not just for yourself alone, but and I guess that might actually be a second question: how how can we, even though, like you said, Richard Branson always carries it, most of the brands that we have seen, their founders always carry their personality into the brands or into the ideas that they've developed. But how can an entrepreneur kind of separate themselves away from their own thinking to kind of put themselves in the shoe of their target audience in order to develop the right idea? What would be your recommendation to the entrepreneur listening now?
So I think it's a very tough one. It's a very, very tough one to do. But once you constantly practice honesty, I feel honesty has that element or attributes that it further helps you, differentiate between something real and fake, and you are honest enough to tell yourself that, oh, look, I don't think the people will behave this way. It's also, so honesty is really key for the entrepreneur to be honest. Also, it's about, they call it, when you, is it affective empathy? When you try to mirror, like you dissociate yourself from your own reality and you imbibe the reality of, so it might even be, so I'll cite an example. I worked in the election in Nigeria, especially in the federal government and Rivers State, to really think or create the campaign story. I had to go personally, I had to remove all the shit and I had to, roughen myself up and go on the streets and sit with people. I had to do that indirect research of the audience to get what they are talking about. So, I remember I said, oh, listen to people, not when they are all composed and they know you are listening, but no. So it's important to, dissociate yourself and just listen to the audience and see how much information you can get from these people and throwing into questions. It takes constantly, it takes practice to really get to that. It's not you can't just stand up one day and decide, no, I'm going to be this. No. And also, if you are not so versatile, then yeah, it's important to have people as well who are on your team, who their core expertise is to gather data on your target audience and break it down into snack bits that you can execute, or you can, you can, what's the word, interpret for your business strategy.
Oh, awesome. So we have another question here. So with the speed of change, with the speed of the change of our world experiences, what advice do you have for brands that may need to reinvent themselves many times and very quickly each time? So yeah, go ahead.
So is it the same question from Rose or do you
from Yomi Odukoya? So with the speed of our changing world experiences, what advice do you have for brands that may need to reinvent themselves many times over and very, very quickly?
Well, it's for one thing to realize there's a honest truth, and that truth is we are going to die one day. So, oftentimes, a lot of brands do not have, succession plan in place. But even as entrepreneurs, that okay, I want this brand or business to outlive me. So we are the Lord and Master. We control everything. And with this whole pandemic, and we've just come to realize that there is that reality right now that it is important to be very fluid, have a fluid, as I said, an open mind, because things are set or done. Change is very difficult, especially for we Blacks. It's difficult to change. Oh, this is a route I go all the time. I need to divert. No, there's a diversion on the road. It's going to take longer. It's going to inconvenience me. But as a businessman, even if it is, it's one thing to have that fluid mindset where you are able to notice certain things, and that is why you have, some departments. Well, for big organizations, you have the research and development, R&D department, and you have those who forecast certain things that this event is going to happen. and you have to adapt. So I do not really think you need to change your brand DNA or your personality of your brand. I do think you need to change the approach in which your business operates. So if your business has been maybe 90% operational in how you having a physical store, why not take it into half and decide to have a virtual store and invest in maybe logistics? And also that amount of money, also realize that, okay, I need to have a marketing budget, an annual marketing budget, because you also need to talk to people online. They need to know about your stuff, and look for, what do you call it? Look for ways you can partner, collaborate with other businesses who might not be in your area. So two things. I'll just wrap up. Brand stretching, and brand stretching is where you do different businesses, but you can all tie everything together. An example is Apple. Apple do phones, they do mobile phones, they do Apple Watch, they do, they have the MacBook, they have iPod, they have the iTunes. Brand stretching is everything is still under the same umbrella. You can sign into an Apple device. You can have one account that is already synchronized to everything. But you have other people who do, should I even call it brand stretching? They don't even do brand stretching. They just, and that is where they go into other businesses that are not tied to their original brand. I'll give an example, Samsung. Mobile phones, they do TVs, they do fridge, they do general electronics. Are they all tied together? Does it affect the fridge if their AC is not really cooling? Would it affect the personality and the perception of the brand? Is it all tied together? No. So it's important that you look for ways that to survive, to have several revenue streams. Look at other places you can make money, but at the end, it's still tied to what your brand really stands for. And that will not change. But what would really matter is changing your business dynamics. That we need to do this, A, B, C, D, E, and all whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So let's just go to the next question. How do you balance taking agile approach to building your brand and making sure you have done due diligence? As in, do I need to wait until everything is perfect before starting, or just start and refine as I go along?
Okay, so brand building is not a 1 month, or it's not a 100-meter marathon or dash. Sorry, it's not a 100-meter dash, it's a marathon. And that marathon takes time. I've seen several people who have gone online, they created a brand in that business circle. So for them, their own brand is create a logo and just put a catchy word to it. And, they go to purchase or purchase an Instagram account. And you notice they have over 50,000 likes, 50,000 followers on Instagram. And you see them posting like their products. And at the end, you look at the metrics. First of all, probably have less than 50 likes. And you can tell from the onset that these are not your real audience, your real target audience. These people don't even understand what your brand is, or you don't even understand what your brand is all about. Brand building starts from 0 follower to 1 follower, to 2 follower, to 3, to 4, to 10, to 100, to 1,000, to 20,000, to 50,000. Now, when you go through that, when you start from 0 to 1 to 2, it is for you to also develop a way of getting a feedback mechanism from your customers. You might be calling them to say, oh, please, I just wanted to ask, hope the delivery was nice, hope they were polite and all whatnot. Check up on them, customer service, excellent customer service, going beyond that, just exceeding, as I said, not just meeting their needs, you're exceeding their needs. And how would you know, how can you tell? It starts from referrals. There's some businesses, I don't even know where, there's a brand in Nigeria that started as far back as 50s or 40s. They call it Aboniki. This stuff, I don't see no adverts, no billboard or anything. And there are no visible marketers. But it is so popular and it's based on referrals. And that's one of the ways you can actually tell. You can actually know that, oh yes, your brand building is paying off. When word of mouth, because that's much more believable than you advertising. There's a difference between advertising and public relations. And when someone identifies your brand, they can tell, oh, I know this is what your brand stands for. So when you have done all that, then it's possible, there are certain things you need to have before you even venture out there. Brand building, first of all, you need to have the brand strategy. That is a document that encompasses what your brand is all about. So how I really do it for my clients, I break it down. There's a research part, the research analysis where your industry, research, industry, everything is done. So you have all those documentations. Your brand strategy, it breaks down what your brand is all about, the DNA and all whatnot. You have your identity manual, your brand identity manual, the look and feel of your brand. So if your brand were to be placed on a black background, this is what it's going to look like. If it is on a white background, this is what it's going to look like. On a monochrome, this is a certain format. So you can tell on social media, this is how your brand is going to be posted, designed and all whatnot. So you know that there is consistency across board. So in a way, yeah, you don't really need to wait until everything is perfect. But can you do those little things? Can you do research? Now you have DIY. So can you do research on, okay, how do I build my brand? What are the key steps to take? So once you've done those little things by yourself, or maybe you have a friend who is also knowledgeable, once you're able to put them together, it's just, done is better than perfect, but at least put certain things down. Make sure that you highlight all your points. Make sure that you have documents, not just on the laptop or in your head. Write it down so that even if there's so many people who they can't have potential investors because they do not have certain documents, even about their business plan, they don't have it. Even about their revenue, how much they make, breaking it down, they don't have all that. So even if you're making hair, even all you're doing is making hair and you're accountable, you're putting all that down. So you can start now, but it's knowing what you need in the business, in the financial part, in the brand building part, in the business strategy part, knowing, okay, these are the things I need and these are the documents. So just in case anyone comes, I can present all these things and say, look, all I do is make soup every day, I cook, and people come, they order, but I've documented everything and I know this is my plan. These are what opportunities are there in the market. Okay, I need to go into this in the future. Then you go on shows like, I'm taking your time, but you go on shows like those reality shows that, is it Den or the Dragon's Den? You can answer those questions because you have everything. You will tell them, you bring documents, and it's more, you're a business person. So yeah, it's you can start, but know what you need to have.
Okay, so the final question here is, so I believe that every entrepreneur is going to be somewhat of a CEO, because I think that will be the drive. And my understanding of a CEO is somebody that actually solves tomorrow's problems today. So what kind of a mindset do entrepreneurs need to have now in order for them to be proactive problem solvers so that they don't come late to the party? So for example, one of the things that has made Hapu very, very successful is that they are trend creators. They are not following the trend. They are the ones that are actually creating the trend, and everybody else in the space is trying to catch up. So what kind of mindset do entrepreneurs need to start developing now in order for them to be trend creators in their industry?
If you do realize that most of the top tech CEOs have a particular personality or opinion about life, they're quite open-minded. And it's one of the key things is the top priority on the list. you need to be open-minded. And you must not, restrict yourself to what you were taught in the university, because theory is different from practical.
Mm-hmm.
And you must be open-minded because you would learn on the job. There are so many jobs that, you can have all the theory in the world, but when you touch the practical, when you do your day-to-day business, then you can find certain loopholes and you learn. So, but if you're not open-minded and you feel there's always something they say, culture is strategy for breakfast anytime.
Mm-hmm.
You go, imagine a company, multinational, going to different countries to start up. You would know that Axe is not called Axe in America. I think in UK, I think it's called Lynx. But in America, it's called Axe. In another country, it's called something else in China. So if you're not open-minded, how can you, succeed on a global scale? So you being open-minded is really, really priority. And number two, I think it's about empathy. If you really do have a high level of empathy, a lot of entrepreneurs need to be emotionally intelligent. Not just entrepreneurs, leaders as well. When you're emotionally intelligent, your staff, you can empathize with your staff members, because at the end of the day, your brand of business is not the structure, it's the people. So, and it's about making sure that you're giving them certain incentives that, make them loyal, because or else you might lose people to other places. So you must have emotional intelligence. A high level of emotional intelligence to also deal with customers out there as well. And I believe you must be very, open-minded, be fluid, but have your own personality, know what you really want to achieve and stick to it. And then be stubborn. If I'm to use something bad in a good way, be stubborn. Like, don't give up. It's not easy. Not every one of us are going to succeed in whatever business we'll do. Even the top companies have failed, they flopped. As I said, Google, almighty company, Google Glasses was a flop. Google Plus was a flop. So it's to also be consistent and accept failure. Failure is not a life sentence. Just when you're open-minded, of course, you'll be able to embrace failures, look at it from another perspective, and you can move on in life. But the others will tell you, you have to wake up at 5 a.m., read. But for me, it's just very simple. Be open-minded, have a high level of emotional intelligence, be stubborn, and learn to embrace failures.
Awesome. That's really powerful. Thank you so much, Laolu. So just to kind of, absolutely, yes. So just like Rose said, failure is an event and does not define the person. That's absolutely true. So we shouldn't define ourselves by our experiences alone, but about learning from them and then taking action immediately. So Laolu, just what do you want the audience listening to you today to take away from your lecture today and start acting on immediately? And for people who want to stay in touch with you, how can they reach out to you and connect with you?
All right, what I want, I would love, so as I prepared for this, I also learned a lot. So, and I'm also, as I'm saying it to everyone, I'm also telling myself that one key thing here is we must, I think I said it again, or I will say it again, we must be open-minded. Mm-hmm. We must be able to look at things differently. Yeah, we see hardship, we see COVID-19, but there's several opportunities, I missed an opportunity, January. I was still telling my wife, I had a Chinese friend who sent me a message about face masks. And said, "Oh, do I know someone over 3 million worth of 3 million face masks that he's trying to get across to Nigeria?" But so I missed that opportunity. And when I say I missed it, imagine if I had invested and had bought the face mask. given a distributor, because I won't sell it, but I redistributed it or maybe sold it to the government or something at a better price than what I bought it. Because that's business at the end, is to make profit. So, but we see the hardship, we don't see opportunities. There are opportunities around us. So it is to just, have an open mind to just key into those opportunities, look at things differently, look at the world differently. And one word or one statement that will further help us is when you ask yourself, what else? So that else statement, what else haven't I done? What else can I do? Mm-hmm. It sort of helps you, probe deeper and see things. Okay, what else? Okay, this is here. This is okay. What else haven't I done? What else have I missed out? Mm-hmm. When you keep asking yourself that every day, you are able to, scale into that world of being innovative, because you see things and you see what is there and you see what else can be there. I'll give an example: a glass cup. Everyone sees. Okay, so for example, yeah, this is it looks like a glass cup, but everyone sees, when I say, oh, this is a glass, everyone thinks it's a glass cup. Mm-hmm. It's a glass cup, you drink maybe tea. What else can it do? What else can it be? Mm-hmm. That is where you are innovative. Oh, they've turned it to a candle holder. Mm-hmm. You can decide to, maybe put your toothpick or your toothbrush. You can change anything, that's what innovation really is. What else? When you make those statements, you see things differently, you see opportunities and hardship and all whatnot. So yeah.
Awesome. So I think, yeah.
My website is newedxp.com. Mm-hmm. My email is olaolu@newedxp.com. I'm always open to collaboration, because that's the future. Collaboration is key. So yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to send everybody a recording of this video and also Olaolu's details as well. If you want to reach out to him, I do encourage you to do so, because that's the whole purpose of the webinar. Especially you might need help with developing your business canvas, the idea maps, and also your business plan as well. So I think it will be a very, very good resource. And I believe that what we have learned so far has actually set the bar for consequent webinar sessions. So, and that would lead nicely to the next topic next week, same time at 6 p.m., which is identifying and building the right team. So I'm sure from what you have learned today, you can start thinking about, hey, what would I be looking for in potential partners or teammates or even employees as well. And that will be taken by a very noble mentor of mine, Mr. Yomi Odukoya, who is also with us today, and he will be leading the session next week. So I'd like to give us some time back just to reflect on what we have learned today. And the most important thing is for us to take action, and take action now. Thank you so much, and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.